Hu, personification of authority and divine mandate. In the rich tapestry of ancient Egyptian religion and mythology, Hu holds a unique and profound place. Hu represents the personification of authority and the divine mandate, embodying the power of the spoken word to create, govern, and sustain the cosmos. This concept, deeply rooted in Egyptian cosmology, illustrates the belief that speech is not merely a tool for communication but a fundamental force that shapes reality itself. In this comprehensive exploration, we will delve into the origins, significance, and enduring legacy of Hu, tracing how this ancient concept has influenced various cultures and continues to resonate in modern ideas of authority and governance. The origins of Hu in ancient Egyptian religion, whose roots can be traced back to the earliest periods of Egyptian history. He first appears in the Pyramid Texts, a collection of religious texts from the Old Kingdom, dating back to around 2400 to 2300 BCE. These texts, inscribed on the walls of pyramids, were intended to ensure the safe passage of the pharaohs into the afterlife and included numerous references to Hu. In the Pyramid Texts, Hu is often mentioned alongside Sia, perception, and Heka, magic. Together, these deities represent the essential elements of the creative and governing process, whose role was to embody the authoritative word, the divine command that brought order out of chaos and maintained the structure of the cosmos. This concept was not limited to religious texts but permeated all aspects of Egyptian thought, influencing their understanding of kingship, law, and society. The role of Hu in the Egyptian pantheon. Hu's significance in the Egyptian pantheon is multifaceted. He is frequently depicted as an anthropomorphic figure or as a man with a scepter, symbolizing his authority. In some depictions, he is shown holding a feather, which is a symbol of Ma'at, the concept of truth, balance, and order that underpinned Egyptian society. This association underscores Hu's role in maintaining cosmic order through the power of the spoken word. One of the central myths involving Hu is the story of creation. According to Egyptian cosmology, the god Ta created the world through the power of speech. Ta would speak the names of things, and they would come into being. Hu, as the personification of authoritative utterance, was an integral part of this creative process. This idea highlights the profound belief in the power of words to shape reality, a belief that would influence many other cultures and philosophical systems, whose influence extended beyond the divine realm into the very fabric of Egyptian society. The pharaoh, considered a living god, was believed to wield the power of Hu in his decrees and commands. The pharaoh's words had the authority to create laws, command armies, and direct the course of the nation. This divine right to rule, granted by the gods and manifested through the power of speech, was a cornerstone of Egyptian kingship. Hu in the context of Ma'at. The concept of Ma'at, representing truth, justice, and cosmic order, is central to understanding Hu's role. Ma'at was the principle that governed the universe, and maintaining it was essential for harmony and balance. Hu, as the embodiment of authoritative speech, was crucial in upholding Ma'at. The pharaoh, as the earthly representative of the gods, was tasked with maintaining Ma'at through his actions and decrees. In this context, Hu's role was not only to create and command, but also to ensure that these commands were just and in accordance with Ma'at. The spoken word had to reflect the divine order, and any deviation could lead to chaos. This close relationship between Hu and Ma'at underscores the ethical dimension of authoritative speech in ancient Egyptian thought. Words had to be carefully considered, as they had the power to influence the balance of the universe. The power of the spoken word in Egyptian rituals. Rituals and ceremonies were integral to Egyptian religious practice, and the spoken word was a key component of these rituals. Priests, who were seen as intermediaries between the gods and humans, would recite hymns, prayers, and incantations to invoke the god's favor, ensure the deceased's safe passage to the afterlife, and maintain cosmic order. The precision and accuracy of these recitations were of utmost importance, as it was believed that the words themselves held intrinsic power. This belief in the efficacy of the spoken word is exemplified in the practice of Heka, or magic. Heka was the force that enabled the gods to create and sustain the world, and it was accessed through precise and authoritative speech. Priests and magicians would use Heka to perform rituals, heal the sick, and protect against malevolent forces, drawing directly from the principles embodied by Hu. The significance of the spoken word extended to funerary practices as well. The coffin texts in the later Book of the Dead contain spells and incantations meant to guide the deceased through the dangers of the afterlife. These texts illustrate the continued importance of authoritative speech in ensuring the well-being of individuals beyond death, further highlighting Hu's enduring influence. Hu's influence on Hellenistic and Roman thought. As Egypt came into contact with other cultures through trade, conquest, and diplomacy, its religious and philosophical ideas began to spread and influence the broader Mediterranean world. The Greeks and Romans, in particular, were fascinated by Egyptian religion and incorporated many of its concepts into their own philosophical frameworks. The Greek concept of the logos, which denotes the principle of order and knowledge, bears a striking resemblance to Hu's role in Egyptian thought. The logos, as articulated by philosophers like Heraclitus and later by the Stoics, represents the rational structure of the cosmos, maintained through divine reason and speech. This idea would later be integrated into Christian theology, illustrating the profound and lasting impact of Hu's principles on Western thought. Hu and the development of Hermeticism. One of the most significant ways in which Hu's influence persisted beyond Egypt was through the development of Hermeticism. This esoteric tradition, which emerged in the early centuries of the Common Era, synthesized Egyptian, Greek, and other Near Eastern religious and philosophical ideas. The Hermetic texts, attributed to the mythical Hermes Trismegistus, emphasize the power of the word and the importance of divine authority in shaping reality. Hermeticism played a crucial role in the development of Western esoteric traditions, influencing alchemy, magic, and early modern science. The Hermetic emphasis on the transformative power of speech and the necessity of aligning one's will with divine authority can be traced back to the principles embodied by Hu. This enduring legacy underscores the deep and lasting impact of Egyptian thought on the intellectual history of the West. Hu in the Islamic Golden Age. The influence of Hu's principles also extended into the Islamic world during the Golden Age of Islam. Scholars in the Islamic world, particularly those engaged in the study of philosophy, science, and mysticism, were well versed in the works of earlier civilizations, including the Egyptians. Islamic philosophers such as Al-Farabi, Avicenna, and Averroes engaged with the concept of divine command and the power of authoritative speech in their works. While their primary influences were Greek and Islamic sources, the underlying principles of Hu can be seen in their discussions of prophecy, governance, and the role of language in shaping human understanding. This cross-cultural exchange of ideas highlights the far-reaching impact of Hu's principles on subsequent cultures. Influence on early Christianity. The concept of the logos, which finds its roots in both Greek philosophy and Egyptian thought, played a significant role in early Christian theology. In the Gospel of John, the logos is identified with Christ. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. John 1 verse 1. This passage highlights the creative and authoritative power of the divine word, an idea that resonates with the role of Hu in ancient Egyptian religion. Early Christian thinkers such as Philo of Alexandria, who was influenced by both Jewish and Hellenistic thought, contributed to this synthesis of ideas. Philo's writings on the logos draw parallels to the Egyptian concept of divine utterance, demonstrating the enduring legacy of Hu's principles in shaping theological and philosophical discourse. Medieval and Renaissance thought. The influence of Hu's concepts persisted through the Middle Ages and the Renaissance, as scholars and thinkers revisited ancient texts and integrated them into their own intellectual frameworks. The rediscovery of classical and ancient Egyptian knowledge during the Renaissance led to a renewed interest in the power of the word and its role in creation and governance. Renaissance magicians and alchemists, who sought to harness the power of the spoken word for their own purposes, were particularly fascinated by the principles embodied by Hu. The idea that words could influence and shape reality continued to be a central theme in esoteric traditions, highlighting the lasting impact of Hu's authority on Western thought. Hu's role in modern concepts of authority and governance. The principles embodied by Hu continue to resonate in modern concepts of authority and governance. The power of authoritative speech remains central to the functioning of contemporary political and social systems, reflecting the deep-seated cultural and historical roots of these concepts. Authoritative speech in governance. In modern governance, The power of authoritative speech is evident in the importance placed on official decrees, laws, and public statements by leaders. Just as whose utterances were believed to shape reality and maintain order, contemporary leaders wield significant power through their words. Presidential speeches, parliamentary debates, and judicial rulings all reflect the enduring significance of authoritative speech. The ability of leaders to command and inspire through their words is a direct continuation of whose influence. In democratic societies, the power of speech is fundamental to the political process, with leaders using their oratory skills to persuade, mobilize, and govern. This emphasis on the spoken word as a tool of authority underscores the lasting impact of whose principles on modern governance. The power of legal declarations. The legal system, with its reliance on precise language and authoritative declarations, also reflects whose influence. Court rulings, legislative acts, and executive orders all demonstrate the power of the spoken and written word to shape reality and enforce order. The authority vested in these legal declarations is reminiscent of whose role in ancient Egyptian society. The formal language used in legal contexts, with its emphasis on clarity, precision, and authority, highlights the enduring significance of authoritative speech. Legal professionals, like the priests of ancient Egypt, are tasked with interpreting and enacting the principles of justice and order through their words. This connection underscores the deep historical roots of modern legal systems in the principles embodied by whose legacy in contemporary culture. Beyond the realms of governance and law, whose influence can be seen in various aspects of contemporary culture. The power of the spoken word, the importance of authority, and the belief in the transformative potential of language are themes that continue to resonate in modern society. Literature and media. In literature and media, the power of words to create and transform remains a central theme. Writers, poets, and filmmakers explore the impact of speech and language on human experience, often drawing on ancient concepts of authoritative utterance. The enduring fascination with the creative power of words reflects the lasting legacy of whose principles. Modern storytelling, whether in novels, films, or other media, frequently emphasizes the role of speech in shaping reality. Characters who wield power through their words, whether as leaders, magicians, or prophets, echo the principles embodied by who. This thematic continuity underscores the deep cultural resonance of whose influence on contemporary narratives. Education and leadership. In education and leadership, the principles embodied by who continue to play a crucial role. The ability of educators and leaders to inspire, instruct, and guide through their words is a testament to the enduring significance of authoritative speech. Effective communication remains a fundamental skill in these fields, reflecting the deep historical roots of whose influence. Educators, like the priests of ancient Egypt, are tasked with transmitting knowledge and shaping the minds of future generations. The power of their words to educate, motivate, and transform underscores the lasting impact of whose principles on modern society. Similarly, leaders who can articulate a vision and inspire action demonstrate the enduring importance of authoritative speech. Conclusion. Who, the personification of authority and divine mandate in ancient Egyptian religion, represents the profound belief in the power of the spoken word to shape reality and maintain order. From his origins in the pyramid texts to his enduring influence on modern concepts of authority and governance, whose principles have left an indelible mark on human thought and culture. The abstract yet powerful nature of whose role highlights the significance of authoritative speech in both ancient and contemporary contexts. Whether in the rituals of ancient Egypt, the philosophical traditions of the Hellenistic and Roman periods, or the legal and political systems of modern society, the principles embodied by who continue to resonate. By understanding whose influence, we gain insight into the deep historical and cultural roots of our own beliefs about authority, governance, and the power of words, whose legacy serves as a reminder of the enduring significance of authoritative speech and the transformative potential of language in shaping human experience.